All right. So good morning, everyone. Just a quick introduction because I know this is a new series. My name is Stephanie Comella, and I'm based in Oakland. I got connected through PD Active through Adam Mizok, who I used to work with one-on-one when we were doing in-person work at a Pilates studio in Lafayette. I got interested in working with Parkinson's because my father was diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2007. He's been since re-diagnosed a few times for other neurological conditions just because of the nature of not figuring out what it was. But in the grand scheme of things, it's very Parkinson's-like. And so I have that connection to Parkinson's and want to share the things that I've taught my dad and the things that I've taught Adam and share that with a greater audience. And that's you guys. So I'm excited to have you guys in this series for brain training. This class is going to be all about connecting your sensory systems meaning your feet, your hands, the sense of touch, your sense of where your body is in space. That's called proprioception. We're also going to be integrating your eyes, and so your visual system and your vestibular system, which is actually in your inner ear. And that vestibular system is what tells you how you are oriented in space on the horizon. So if that went over your head, just clump all of that together in your sensory system. And what is exciting about that is when we train our sensory system, it becomes a top-down regulation. So if we address our sensory system and our nervous system, everything that comes downstream of that, including your movement and how you feel in your body, becomes more organized. So instead of working on the things that are down below at the bottom of the pyramid, like movement or stretching and things like that, if we can go more to the top system, the nervous system, all of those things will be a little bit more accessible, or maybe even sort themselves out on their own for the most part. Okay. For class, for the whole series, so we're going to be doing this all summer. For the class, each class, you're going to need a ball. This ball is called a brain speed ball, brainspeedclub.com. I'm in no way affiliated. I get no commissions on their sales, but I do find that this ball is a really amazing prop to use for the brain training. So it's brainspeedclub.com. I think they're like 21 bucks. Trent, the creator, is a really awesome person. So know that you're purchasing from a good person as well. And then you're also going to be needing lots of space because we're going to be integrating our sensory system with some movement. So we integrate the sensory systems, we sort of warm up our nervous system, and then we bring that practice into our movement and kind of download it into our bodies. And then our final component of the class, so that's going to be pretty structured in the same sequence: sensory warm up, movement class, and then what I call kind of a download, a system. So it's almost going to be like a shavasana or a meditation at the end of the class to sort of solidify all the work that we just did. This is all based off of principles of neuroplasticity and getting your brain to connect better with your body. Okay. First things first, I know that was a lot, and I won't say that spiel every single time, but here we are. We're going to get going. So go ahead and stand on up if you're able to. And if you need to have a chair nearby for some balance support, of course, have that resource available for you. Don't ever do anything that you don't feel comfortable doing or feel safe doing. And I want you to just stand here, and we're going to take a check-in with your body, because in order to make change in our body, or even to feel change in our body, which is what we're interested in doing, we need to understand what our baseline is. We need to understand where are we at right now, so that when something does change, we're able to recognize it and be excited about that change. Okay, so go ahead and stand. And again, if you want to hold on to something, you can. If you close your eyes, if you choose to close your eyes, just know that that might throw off your balance a little bit. So maybe if you hold on to something and then close your eyes. And we're just going to do a scan through your system. And I want you to start first with your breath. And notice how your air comes in, which portal it comes in through, your nose or your mouth, unless you're breathing through another portal. But notice which portal you tend to bias. Notice the quality of its entry. Maybe if you have sinus congestion or allergies, it can feel a little bit restricted, or if you have any sort of respiratory situation going on, maybe there's that. And again, there's no judgment here. We're just noticing what is our current state. Not good, not bad, just what is your current state. And then start to notice where that breath takes you. So where does that air come in? How does that air, so where does the air come in? How does it come in? And then where does it journey through your body? Does it go into your chest? Does it go into your stomach? Does it go into your low back? Sometimes people can have this awareness of that breath going down all the way into their feet. That's of course more metaphorically than anatomically. And then go ahead and open up your eyes. And we're just going to turn our heads to the right. And notice how far you can go. And turn your head to the left. And notice how far you can go. And as you're going right and left, you'll go a few times. Go slow. And again, you're noticing how far your range of motion is. You're noticing the quality. Does it feel rigid? Do you bounce a little bit when you go over there? Do your eyes follow with you? Do you get dizzy when you turn your head? Okay, so we're collecting all this data right here about our bodies. Good. And then go ahead and look straight forward here. And if you're okay with your shoulder right here, we're just going to bring the arms up overhead. Big stretch up towards the ceiling. Good. Reach your arms as far as you can. Good. And again, notice the quality. How does your arm lift up overhead? And then bring your arms down. And we'll do that a few times, lifting the arms up. Big stretch, stretch, stretch. And then bring it down. Yep. Just a few more times. Does one side feel different than the other? For whatever reason. Big stretch up. Good, good. And return. Can you keep your elbows straight or does your elbows like to bend? Yes, good. Last one. And up. Very nice. Good. Nice job. And then we're just going to do some random movements in our body. Go ahead and just let your spine sort of roll. I love it. There's a weight shifting that goes on from right side to left side. Good. Maybe we get this sideways wave and then maybe we roll through it a little bit and we just kind of move in your body, just noticing what is my body telling me right now? Is it feeling stiff in certain places? Is it feeling limber? Is it wanting to move? Or are you feeling a little lazy right now? Just noticing, okay, this is what's happening in my body. Good. Nice. And then go ahead and bring it back to your center. Now, we're going to do all of this work over the next little bit, but none of it is really worthwhile unless it impacts something that you truly care about. Okay. So every class that we do in this series as well, the beginning of the class, I want you to choose something, a movement, likely a movement, choose a movement that you care about improving. So what is it that you care about improving? Is it your gait mechanics? Is it your ability to do a sit to stand out of the chair? Is it your ability to stand on one leg? Is it your ability to turn your head so that you can drive a little bit better with that range of motion? So think for a moment, what is it that you care about improving? And then go ahead and do a check-in, testing that range, testing that movement. So go ahead and do that movement actually right now and take some notes on what that feels like in your body before we do all of the brain training interventions. Because we're going to do this again at the end and see if the brain training interventions helped that thing that you care about. And again, that's individual to everyone. You're going to have something that you care about that maybe someone else doesn't. Okay. All right. We tested it. Nice. Sometimes too, and you guys will get maybe like if you get super involved with this, you want to be a little bit more scientific about this process. You can even film yourself beginning, take your camera out of your phone or whatever, film your movement and then film it at the end and do a compare contrast. Sometimes that's kind of interesting too. All right, so let's go ahead and take your ball or your object. Your ball is really nice. You can use a tennis ball. You can use a ball of socks. You can use an apple. You can use anything that you can toss up in the air and catch, and it won't break if it falls on the ground. Okay, so you're just going to take your ball, toss it up and catch it. Toss it up and catch it. And of course, you can always do this seated if you feel like you have balance challenges or whatever, or maybe you do it backed up So, you know, if you fall, you can just sit on the couch, not too big of a deal. But go ahead, and as you start to get more comfortable with catching a ball, maybe this is the first time in a while you've done it, start to surprise yourself a little bit, kind of go crazy with it. Let it make your body move to catch the ball. Maybe you lunge a little bit forward and then kind of reset yourself back so you're close to the couch. You guys make sure that you're being safe. I know you guys know your bodies and where you're challenged in your balance. We're going to do about 2 more of those. And last one. Good. Nice job. And release, rest for a second. So second part of that, we're not only going to throw the ball and catch it. I want you to throw the ball, catch it, and then make really awkward eye contact with your ball for like 2 or 3 seconds, and then reset yourself. Okay. And then as you're throwing, you're going to throw in kind of crazy places. So maybe the ball is way over here, and I'm going to make that eye contact with my ball here, out away from me, and then I'll bring it back to my center. So what I don't want is you catching it and then pulling it to your center and then making eye contact. I want you catching it where you catch it, make that eye contact where you catch it, and then bring it back to the center afterwards. Okay, so you're going to go for about a minute doing something of that sort, catching the ball in crazy places, taking a moment to make awkward eye contact with your ball. That's where the letters and numbers come in, by the way. And so you're just going to work through that. There you go. Nice. I'm going to watch some of you guys while you do it. You got about 45 seconds to go. Good. Make that eye contact where you catch the ball. That's important. You got to take your eyes to the ball. Nice, Ronald. Good. You got about 30 seconds to go. Yeah. Good. I like one of you guys. Catherine, I like the pillow. That was super, that's smart. The pillow, that's what you got. You got to use what you got. Yep. Good. About 10 more seconds. Nice job. 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. And then go ahead and take a lap around your room. Just walk around the room, or if you're seated, just do a seated march in your chair. Okay. So go ahead and just do a lap around the room. Shake it out. Shake it out. Good. Nice. Excellent. All right. So right here, we're going to hold on to your object still. Give yourself a little bit of space on your right side and left side of your body. So give yourself some space this way. If you're needing that balance support, again, you just put the chair in front of you. Okay. Because we're going to be moving laterally out to the side. Move that so you guys can see what I'm doing right here. So we're just going to step out to the side and take your ball or your object and reach down towards the floor. If you get all the way to the floor, awesome. If not, no big deal. And then right here, we're going to slide the foot back to the center. Yep. Over to the other side. Take your ball or your object and reach it across the body to the opposite foot. And then bring yourself back upright and slide together. So I didn't mention this on the other side, but the ball is going to be in the opposite side that you're moving towards. And then you cross the body to top down. Good. And bring it back center. Now, you don't have to go at my speed. You can certainly go faster than me if you have that in you. I'm going to go nice and slow just to kind of keep the demo easy to understand or easy to follow. Good. So again, if you want a little bit more of a cardiovascular component on this one, you're more than welcome to go quick. Nice. We're going to go for about 10 more seconds, whatever that means for you. Getting that heart rate up a little bit. Good. Last one. And then center. Nice job. Walk around the room. Walk around the room. Take a moment. Good. And as you're going through the movements, you're always assessing for quality. You're always assessing like how hard or how easy was that for me? And so that way, when we kind of double back through some of the movements, you can see improvements or no improvements. All right, go ahead and take your object and we're going to hold it out in front of you. Again, you can do this seated or standing. But we're just going to take the ball a little bit over to the left and follow it with your eyeballs. And then bring it back to the center. And then bring the ball a little bit over to the right, but follow it with your eyeballs. Good. A little bit over to the right and follow it with your eyeballs. And center and over to the left and follow it. Good. Keep going there, nice and slow. Now, the further you can bring your object and your eyeballs over to the sides of your face, the better. So you want to stretch that range of motion of your eyeballs all the way over to the side of your face, and then all the way over to the other side of your face. Nice. We'll do that one more time on each side. Good. And last one. Awesome. Great job. We're just going to do that side lunge, that side step exercise again. Go ahead and go hand. So maybe the ball or your object's in your right hand, and you're going to step over to the left. You cross the body to bring your hands down towards the floor, if not on the floor, and then bring yourself back to a standing position, switch the ball to the other side, and then lunge over and drop and bring it together. Okay. Go ahead and work through that for about 45 seconds. Again, if you want to go quicker to get a little bit more of a metabolic effect, a more cardio heart rate, you're more than welcome to do that. But of course, focusing on control and balance would be your priority before you pick up your tempo. Good. Drop down and up. Nice. And we're going to go for about 35 more seconds. Keep it moving. I'm just coming to watch. That's it. If you guys have your videos on and you're excited to get feedback, I may call you out. Maybe I'll use initials instead of first names, huh? There you go. Nice job. I love this functional movement. It's like training to grab something off the floor. Very nice. Good. Maybe one more on each side. Excellent job. And then we'll shake it out with a lap around the room. Shake it out with a lap around the room. All righty. So the idea with the eye movements, because I think this is important to understand so that you guys can hone in on the drills here. The idea with the eye movements is that when you expand your literal range of motion, so your ability to take your eyeballs to all the corners of your face, that translates to greater expansion of movement in your body. Because think about it, your body is not going to move where you can't see, right? That's like a safety mechanism. Like, I don't know what's over there. I'm not going to move in that direction. But if your eyeballs can go in that direction, then your body's going to know what's over there. It's going to feel safe, and then it's going to go. And of course, this all happens on a subconscious level in your tissues. Okay. So we're expanding your field of vision. We're expanding the literal range of motion of your eyeball muscles to help expand the movement possibilities in your body more globally. So we're going to do this eye tracking one right and left again. And this is to help expand our ability to move right and left. Okay. This time though, and some of you guys did this, some of you didn't. When you move the ball right and left, try not to move your body and try not to move your head. So if your head is forward, and I know it's hard to see, but literally I'm just taking my eyeballs to the corner of my face and then taking my eyeballs to the corner of my face and right, left, right, left. Make sure that you keep your chin facing forward. And if you need to have one finger on your chin to keep you honest, do that. It's really important that you don't move your head. Just move your eyeballs and go slow enough that you get to the very end range. Just like in all of your other PWR stuff, you want to hit that end range, really reach for it. And you're going to feel eye strain. You're going to feel eye strain. That's part of it because you're training those muscles to stretch in your eyeballs. Maybe one or two more. Good. And last one. Nice job. Now blink just 5 or 6 times because that can get a little wild in those eyes. So if you're feeling strain in your eyeballs, Excellent job. You hit it. You want to feel that uncomfortable feeling. That's what's going to create the neuroplasticity and the changes in your brain. If you're not feeling uncomfortable, you haven't hit your ceiling, you're not going to make change. Okay. All right. Once you feel sort of gathered and back collected, we're going to do your right, left lunges. Okay. In theory, these should improve because we have improved our right and left range of motion in our eyeball sockets. Now, it may be quick and it may be not quick for you, but some people may feel that quick change, and that's pretty awesome. Good. Make sure you're switching your hand to your ball every time. Some of you may feel your ability to go a little faster, maybe a little deeper. Maybe that transition is a little bit easier. Your balance is better. I should be careful of my suggestion bias, huh? 2 more. And last one. Very good. Go ahead and walk around the room. The walk is sort of to just flush your system. We want the nervous system to have an opportunity to rest by doing something sort of mundane. Okay. Nicely done. How are we doing? Can you give me a thumbs up, a meter? Like, oh my God, my nervous system is dying right now. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling alive. Nice. Is any of this stuff like you've done this before, or is this all new? Raise both hands as if it's all new. This kind of thing is new for you. Awesome. Good. Okay, cool. All right. So we're just going to play with our ball or our pillow again, just up and down. Good. Now, the ball thing is really good. As you can maybe tell, it makes your eyeballs go to the top of your face. Yeah. Makes your eyeballs go up. So then your extension is going to come into play with your upper back strengthening. So just by bringing your eyeballs up to the ball, we're going to be able to get a little bit more lift in our posture. Good. So making sure that that ball maybe goes higher and you keep your eyes on the ball the whole time. Now we're going to do that little awkward stare, catch, stare at the ball, reset, up, catch, stare at the ball, reset. Bonus points if you catch the ball above your head. Bonus points if you catch the ball above your head, and see if you can catch it with maybe both hands. Even if you have a tennis ball that you can catch with one hand, try to catch it with both, because that connects your right and left brain. Both hands coming together. So catching the ball or the pillow above your head and then taking your eyes up to that ball. Good. Nice. And you guys are getting risky. That's it. If you drop the ball, you're succeeding. You should be dropping the ball every once in a while. Otherwise, you're not challenging yourself. Yep. There you go. Nice. Maybe 2 more throws. Excellent. Make sure that there's nothing breakable nearby, but I should have said that at the beginning, huh? All right, good. Nice job. Awesome work. We're going to come down onto the floor now. So go ahead and make your way down onto your floor. And if you haven't already set up a mat or something soft for your body, obviously now is a good time to do it. Keep your object nearby. Keep your object nearby. I'm just going to stash it off to the side. And then come down onto your stomach. And we're just going to lay on our stomach with our hands on our head on our hands. So laying kind of one ear down.
That.
You can't do that.
No, I get vertigo.
Okay, you're going to sit in a chair and do this. Can you do that? Perfect. All right, so you're just going to make these same shapes. If you can't lay on your stomach, you're just going to make these same shapes in a seated position. Good. All right, so you have one ear. So you're looking to the side. Even if you're seated, you should be looking to the side as if you had an ear on the floor. Good. Push down with your hands into the ground. Lift your chin, lift your head up off the mat. You're going to look down at the mat and then switch your ear to the other side. So it should be very simple. We're just going to float your head up off your hands, swivel your head to the other side, and then lay down. Good. And just like everything that we've been doing, being mindful, saying, okay, what does this feel like in my body? Is one side more challenging to go to than the other? Maybe you have a tighter neck, your neck's tighter on one side than it is on the other, depending on which side you look.
Mm.
And we'll do about 2 more. And last one. Very good. Nice job. Go ahead from here and paying attention to how this feels for you. So you can either have your hands out in front of you and your elbows wide and pressing your chest into a little bit of extension, or you can bring your elbows more narrow underneath you and push into extension. So if that feels okay in your back, or bringing your elbows fully underneath you and pulling yourself into extension. Now, if you're seated, because I see some of you guys still seated, just bring your hands onto your thighs and push yourself into extension this way. Okay. Good. So we're here. Now, get lazy in that extension. So kind of like let your shoulders sag. Yep. And then push your elbows down into the ground and lift your chest forward as your eyes come up in front of you. Yep. And then go ahead and follow the path from where your eyes currently are. They're going to come down onto the ground and then come down in front of you and sort of let your body sag. Okay, so we're going to push down into the ground, come back into that extension, trace along the floor in front of you to bring your eyes up a little bit more on the horizon. And then go ahead and lower down and bring the eyes back underneath you. So some of the work that you guys maybe have done in Pilates before, either in my class or with Leela, probably in some of your other classes too, we're just bringing in your sensory system into the movement practice a little bit more. That's what makes it sort of brain training, but then also movement training at the same time. We want to make sure that we're connecting the drills that we're doing for our brain and our nervous system also into movement to really solidify. And we're just repeating. If you haven't caught on to that, we're just repeating. I'm kind of talking as we're going. We'll do one more time here. Push up. Good, good. Eyes come up. Nice job. And then release all the way back down. Good. Go ahead and splay your elbows out if they haven't already. Good. And if you're seated, give me just a minute because I'll help you figure out what we're doing in the seated version of this. Go ahead and look over to your left. Look over your left shoulder and see if you can turn a little bit or push off a little bit and look at your left foot. And then if you can, lift up your left foot and just kind of twinkle your toes and be like, hey, like it's almost like your foot's waving at you like, hey, yep. And then we're going to bring it down and then go ahead and do the other side. So you're going to turn to the right, lift up a little bit in your chest, look over your right shoulder, see if you, I'm sorry, it's your right shoulder and wave with your right foot. So this is, again, your eyes are moving to the corners of your sockets, and then we're getting a little bit of footwork too. Continue doing that right, left, nice and slow. Now, if you're doing this seated, you're just going to look to the left, try to look over the back corner of your chair, and then bring yourself center, and then look over to the right and look over the right corner of your chair. All right. So just turning your head and looking a little bit behind you. Okay. Those of you guys on the floor, maybe you have one more on each side, sort of pushing off, waving with your foot. Hey, and then bring it down. And then other side, waving through your foot. Nice job. And then bring it back down. Go ahead and bring your hands underneath your shoulders and press yourself up off of the ground and crawl your knees forward so that you come into either a low kneeling with your hips over your heels, or you can keep your hips lifted and we'll just come into sort of a child's pose here. Child's pose. You can separate your knees if you'd like that, if that feels better for your body, and then go ahead and just rock. Rock forward, back. Yeah, should feel nice on your hips to kind of sit your hips back. If you're seated, you can just rock in your chair. The rocking itself is really powerful for your nervous system. Very nice. Good. All righty. So go ahead and come on up to a kneeling position. And your kneeling position can be low kneeling. So either your hips on your heels. If that doesn't feel good on your knees, you can do high kneeling position. Let me tip my thing up. And if for whatever reason being on your knees doesn't feel good at all, you can go back in the chair. You can be seated on the couch or in a chair. Okay. Lots of options. I do like the kneeling because it just opens up your hips a little bit more. Okay. All right. We're going to bring your ball out in front of you. And before we were doing the ball moving, I'm just going to come close to the camera. Before we were doing ball moving and the eyeballs moving. Is that true? Right? Okay. So we're going to change it a little bit. This time we're going to do eyes stay forward, but the head moves right and left. Okay. So if you have your object out in front of you, laser lock your eyes onto something on that object. Maybe there's like a flower on the pillow or, a logo on your ball. And take your other hand on your chin. And we're going to turn your chin and your nose to one side, keeping your eyes on that ball. Your eyes may want to flick with your head, but don't let them. And then bring yourself back to the center. And then go to the other side. So you're going to turn your head to the other side, keeping your eyes still on the ball. Your eyes may want to flick in the direction, but don't let them. And then center. Okay. Go ahead and work through that a few times. And if you feel nauseous, dizzy, or just like this kind of like wave of overwhelm or something like that, that's your nervous system getting fatigued. Take a break, lay down, do what you need to do to kind of reset. Okay. Remember that object is not moving. It's your head that's moving. It's your head that's moving. Good. And last one. Good. Nice job. Place your object off to the side. We're going to come back to that. I'll explain that in a second. And just come onto hands and knees or your hands on your thighs and just rock yourself forward and back. So this is just a soothing motion. You guys know when a baby's crying, you're like soothing the baby by maybe rocking it. It's the same thing for your bodies. You got to rock the system, soothe the nervous system, kind of getting yourself back to a reset. Especially if you found yourself overwhelmed, if you had that overwhelm or nausea feeling. Yeah. Good. We'll go about 2 more. And last one. Good, good. All right, come on up to a kneeling position again, kneeling or seated. And we're going to do that same drill without your ball. So without your ball this time, because what I noticed last time was some of you were holding your ball and you were starting to move the ball. So what we're going to do is instead of the ball, you're going to pick something on the wall in front of you. Okay, pick something on the wall in front of you. Or if you're looking at the computer screen, you can look at me. Okay, maybe look at my nose. And then let's do that same drill again. So you're going to turn your head to one side, but keep your eyeballs locked in on that object the whole time. And then return back center. And then rotate to the other side. Keep your eyeballs locked in on that object the whole time. And then center it up. Okay. Let's do that a few more times. I'm going to watch. Good. And again, it's your eyes are going to feel strained. You're going to feel that like, oh my goodness, like that is a lot on my eyeballs or a lot on my brain. And that's a normal feeling. So if you feel that, just take a moment, come down to the mat and rock yourself. Yeah. Good. Or if you've noticed even that your tremors get worse or your dyskinesia gets worse, that could be a sign too that your nervous system is overwhelmed. Good. And last one. Very nice. Go ahead and do your rocking. Hands down on the ground or hands on your thighs. Just rock. Very nice. So the concept is relatively the same there. We're trying to expand your field of vision, expand literally where the flexibility of your eyeball muscles. There's there's muscles that are on your eyeballs. We're expanding that field of vision through stretching the eyeball muscles and strengthening your eyeball muscles. And I'm not talking about like the lens. I'm not talking about your vision. I'm talking about the muscles that move your eyeball. Good. All right. Go ahead and come into a kneel position here again, high kneel. And if this doesn't feel good on your knees, you can certainly do this standing. Okay. It would be the same movements, just standing, but I'm going to show it kneeling. So right here, if you need to lean onto something, use it. We're going to take 1 foot forward so that you come into this half kneel or proposed stance. Yep. Use an object or your hand on the ground if you need help getting your foot there. That's it. Nice. Awesome job, you guys. Good. And go ahead and bring yourself back upright. Now, if you feel a little bit whoa here, of course, grab your chair or have something so that you can hold on to it. Okay. So we're just going to rock forward to stretch out the front of your hip and then shift back a little bit. Shift forward and shift back. And again, if you're standing, it would just be shift forward and shift back. Shift forward, shift back. Okay. I encourage you to do the work on the floor if you can, if your knees tolerate it, just because it helps your hips stretch a little bit more. Good. We'll do that one more time. Good. And go ahead and bring the knee back. We'll do the other side. Take your time getting there. No rush. Take your time. And then once you get there and you're settled, you can push in and forward and back. And again, either holding on to something or you can put your hands on your hips. Yeah, good. Nice work. We'll do 2 more. And last one. Excellent. Replace that knee back in. From here, we're going to go ahead and lay down on the ground on your back. Laying down on the ground on your back. And if you're not laying down, if you're not participating on the floor, you can do this just by doing the same movements. It'll just look a little different. You're just basically, so on the ground, we're going to do some cross body work. And if you're seated, you're just going to do it like this. Okay, tapping your opposite hip. It's a little bit more dynamic when you get on the floor though. All right, so we're on the ground and I know that you guys are going to be looking at the ceiling. So I'll try to be really explicit in my verbal cues here, but go ahead and make your body in the biggest X possible. So your feet are really far apart and your arms are really far apart. Okay, making yourself in the big X. If you're seated, you can still make yourself in a big X from the waist up. Okay, so go ahead and bring your arms up overhead if you're not already. Right here, take your right arm and bring it across to tap your left hip. And give your hip a little rub. Be like, hey, left hip, I see you. And then bring your arm back up into that X pattern. Go ahead and bring your left hand up and across to your right hip and give your right hip a rub. And then bring your arm back up overhead. So if you're seeing this, you're just going across and rub, and then up and then across and rub. Okay. So right here, we're just trying to bring some attention in our brains and our bodies. What is it like to connect to the opposite side of the body? And maybe one step further would be, what is it like to connect to the opposite and lower part of your body? Yep. And we'll do that one more time each. Good. And then go ahead and relax your arms in a comfortable position. They don't have to be overhead, but they can be. All right, so go ahead and with your feet, we're going to make some circles with your ankles. Some circles. Draw the biggest circles with your ankles you could possibly draw. And then reverse. Good. So we're bringing some awareness all the way down to the bottoms of your feet, all the way down to your toes, making those big circles. And then go ahead and point them and flex them. So you're pushing on the gas pedal with both feet and then lifting off of the gas. So if I ever say point your feet, I'm saying push on the gas pedal. And if I ever say flex your feet, I'm talking about lifting off the gas pedal. Okay, shins towards, tops of the feet towards your shins. A couple more, flex and point, flex and point. And then we're going to land with your feet in flexed position. So off the gas pedal, which is going to take some work. Your shins might start to burn a little bit, and that's a good thing. Keeping your feet flexed, take your right arm up towards the ceiling, and we're going to roll fully onto the left side of your body. So we're going to push off of the right side and roll fully onto your left side of your body. Yep. And then go ahead and let your foot slide back and bring yourself back down into that X position. Let's bring your left arm up towards the ceiling. And we're going to roll fully onto your right side. Keep your feet flexed. That's important. Roll all the way over onto your right side of your body. And then bring it back down. Very nice. We'll do that a couple more times each side. If you want to go a little quicker than me, be my guest. Flex your feet, reach across until you can roll fully onto the side of your body. That's it. Nice work. And bring it back. And then the left arm comes up and you're going to roll fully on the right side of your body. Now we want to try to keep the feet on the ground, even though they're flexed. Okay. Try to keep them on the ground. That'll give you a little bit more of a stretch through your trunk as well. Let's do one more each side. Rolling up and over, keeping your feet flexed. Very nice. And back through. And last one, flex your feet and roll. And release. Nice job. Now bring your arms up towards the ceiling. And we're going to bring one arm up. So let's go left arm up on the high diagonal and your right arm on the low diagonal. So you're like, what would that be like? I have to literally look at a clock. 11 o'clock and 4 o'clock or something like that. 11 and 5. And you're going to take your nose up towards the ceiling, just with your eyeballs. Look to your left hand and then look to your right hand. Look to your left hand, look to your right hand. So you have your 11 and 5 o'clock hand position. And so now we're moving our eyeballs on the diagonal. And again, you're trying to stretch those eyeball muscles. So if you need to separate your hands to really challenge your eyeball mobility, do that. We'll do 2 more. Last one. Good. Shake out your arms. Let your body shake out. My eyeballs, they're hurting. All right, so then we're going to go the opposite side. So right arm up, left arm down. So we have about 2 o'clock and 7 o'clock. Yeah, the analog clock is just a little challenging for me. Is that stereotypical? Someone my age. All right, so we're gonna go up to the right hand and down to the left with the eyeballs. Remember, just your eyeballs are moving, not your head. And you can kind of get feedback from the floor anyways to know if your head is moving anyways. Challenge yourself if you want to separate your hands a little bit more. Good, good. Nice work. Maybe one more. And amazing. Shake it out. Good. So there's always this element of like strain in the eyes or discomfort in the system. If you feel slightly uncomfortable, that's a good thing. But you need to understand this is also a line. So once you start to feel uncomfortable, just stop yourself and let yourself reset. I don't want you to go over and then kind of be wrecked for the rest of the day. This eye stuff is quite powerful. So yeah, make sure that you're listening to what your body is telling you. All right, so right here, go ahead and roll over to your side. Bend your knees up and press yourself up into a seated position. And then we're going to come back into that kneeling position. And then we're going to come back onto your feet. So if you have a better way of doing this for yourself that you know works and is safe, I'm going to encourage you to get close to a sofa or close to something to help you bring maybe one foot forward and then the other foot forward and then stand, or whatever version of standing you know works for you that's safe. Okay, that's not going to be today's class. All right. So right here, go ahead and walk around the room and just let your nervous system kind of reset. Again, we kind of do something that's mundane and a little bit repetitive and automatic in your system to sort of let your nervous system kind of come back to itself. And then check in, actually, and then come back to your center. We'll do a group check-in together too. So we're going to check in with our breath. And if you'd like to close your eyes during these body scans, you can, but please maybe use a chair so that you keep your balance. So just start with your breath. Notice how the breath comes into the body, which portal does it. And if you did switch from mouth breathing to nose breathing, that would be an indication of improved nervous system. Kind of that was the goal. So if you are now nose breathing, awesome job. We want nose breathing. And then noticing the quality as it enters in. So if you had some sort of congestion or restriction at the beginning of class and now you don't, awesome. We didn't take any allergy meds during class, but if that was a byproduct, awesome. And then noticing where you feel that breath as well. Does it feel like it's high up in the chest? Do you feel like you can send it a little bit lower into your thorax? And as I mentioned earlier, some people can even send it out through their feet, metaphorically. And then go ahead and turn your head right and left. And you can take your eyes with it. It's not a drill or anything. But then just compare to how you felt at the beginning of class. How you felt at the beginning of class. And the range of motion. So how far behind you were you able to see when you did your neck test at the beginning? What is the quality? Is there any rigidity in it? And we didn't do neck stretches per se today, but we did do a lot of vision stuff that expanded your eyes to the sides of your face. And that, if you felt an improvement in your neck, that is why. It's not because we stretched your muscles, it's because we stretched your eyeballs. Interesting, right? Cool. And then go ahead and take the arms up overhead and just do a little overhead stretch. And again, notice the quality. Does the right feel different than the left? What about before and after? Okay, range of motion, your ability to lift your arms higher than before. Good. And then go ahead and just do your random spine dance. Move around in space, make some funny shapes, look ridiculous. Do something that your body's telling you to do without thinking of it. I like the spontaneity of movement. That's what makes movement fun, that you're making all these different shapes. Good. And then give me a thumbs up if one or more of those things improved from the beginning of class. So neck range of motion, breath, or if you're just like, I don't know, I'm still confused at what we're doing here, that's okay too. Great. All right. So now remember that thing that you cared about that you checked in at the beginning of class. So your gait, your single leg balance, maybe your neck range of motion was one of that, your spine mobility. I asked you to pick something that you cared about so that you can test and retest at the end of class. Go ahead and do that now. Good. I saw some of you checked your neck range of motion, which was good. Nice. Some of you guys checking single leg balance. Excellent. Great. Cool. So if you were kind of considering, you know, what do I care about? You're like, I don't know what I care about. I'll just check my single leg balance. That's fine. I just want to make sure that that's something that you truly care about. Okay. So as you guys are going through your next week, maybe think about some tasks that you do throughout the week that are challenging for you, you find yourself kind of fumbling in, and then maybe have that be your check-in and post check. All right, to finish out class, we're always going to do this. It's going to be like a 4 or 5 minute kind of shavasana. So go ahead and find a comfortable place for yourself. You can either lay down on your back or you can be seated. But I do want you to close your eyes. And this phase of the brain training is really, really important because this is where your brain downloads everything that you just did and installs it into a more permanent place in your brain. Okay, this is where new motor learning happens, is this quiet reflection. I'm going to be I'm going to be really quiet. I'm going to mute myself. And literally, I'm going to time. We're just going to go 5 minutes, like nap time. If you fall asleep, great. Okay. Just take your time to replay everything that you just did. Maybe think about what was interesting, what was new, what made you pushed you over the edge, or pushed you towards your threshold. So again, I'm going to mute myself so it's really quiet. Hopefully it's quiet in your place too. You just want to let your brain wander. All right, go ahead and take a couple, maybe 3 more breaths in through your nose. See if you can make that exhale longer than your inhale. And again. And inhale, last one. Wherever you are right here, start to twinkle your toes and your fingers and your ankles and your wrists. Kind of make some circles. And then start bending your knees and your elbows. Maybe rolling your hips and your shoulders. And then nodding your head and tucking your tail. Good, good. Excellent. You can either sit yourself up or just kind of bring yourself back here. So I know that was jammed packed. It's kind of just a taster of some of the things that we're going to be doing in this series. I think Adam and I decided to call it a series, but if you miss a class, you're not going to miss some critical piece of information, but you will find yourself building on your neurological resilience through the series. So the more you practice, the more resilient your nervous system becomes. Also, I encourage you to do some of these things throughout the week. So one bout of a 50-minute class is actually quite intense for the nervous system. What is best is to do 10 to 15 minutes of maybe just passing the ball around, maybe some eye tracking, play I Spy with your little kids, with your grandkids to get your eyeballs moving around in those sockets. Just 10 to 15 minutes, here and there throughout your week. And then you'll feel that accumulation and have more resiliency over time. I'm going to turn off the recording and I am happy to answer any questions that you guys have. I have a few minutes and we can, have a conversation or you can share your experiences. I'd like to hear what you guys are feeling so that it helps me create a better class for you. All right. So see you later on the recording and